In the world of storytelling, subtext is like a secret handshake. It's an unspoken understanding between the audience and the creators that hints at a deeper meaning behind the surface-level narrative. But when suggestive scenes are hidden behind subtext's fence, it can be a delicate balancing act. On one hand, subtle suggestions can be a powerful tool for writers and creators to convey complex emotions, desires, and motivations without spelling it out explicitly. For example, in a classic episode of The Twilight Zone, a husband and wife are on a romantic getaway, but their conversation is laced with subtle hints of underlying tension and unease. The wife's veiled complaints about the husband's work and her own sense of restlessness are never explicitly stated, but the audience is left to infer the cracks in their relationship. This approach can create a sense of nuance and sophistication, leaving the audience to piece together the clues and make their own interpretations. However, when suggestive scenes are hidden behind subtext, it can also lead to confusion, misinterpretation, or even alienation of the audience. If not executed carefully, the lack of clear communication can leave viewers or listeners feeling like they're missing out on crucial information or that the story is deliberately being obtuse. For instance, in some artistic dramas, suggestive scenes may be so coded that they require a concerted effort to decipher their meaning, which can be frustrating or even boring for audiences who prefer a more straightforward narrative. Furthermore, if the subtext is unclear or inconsistent, it can undermine the credibility of the story and create distrust in the audience's understanding of the characters and their motivations. This is where the writer or creator needs to be mindful of finding that balance between subtlety and clarity. It's a delicate dance between hinting at deeper meanings without being too obvious or manipulative. By using subtext effectively, creators can create a rich and layered narrative that rewards close attention and interpretation, while avoiding the pitfalls of ambiguity and confusion. In the rest of this episode, we'll explore some techniques for using subtext to create suggestive scenes that both hint at deeper meanings and respect the audience's intelligence and engagement. Human behavior is often a tangled web of intention and unintentional leakage. This is because our thoughts, emotions, and actions are not always explicitly stated, but rather conveyed through subtle cues, body language, and tone of voice. In fact, research in psychology suggests that up to 55% of communication is nonverbal, leaving plenty of room for misinterpretation and hidden meaning. This complexity is what makes human behavior so fascinating and why it's been a staple of storytelling for centuries. In the world of storytelling, this phenomenon is as old as Greek tragedy, where a character's external actions concealed their true motivations. Think of characters like Oedipus, who unknowingly fulfilled the prophecy that was driving the plot forward. Or consider the masterful use of subtext in Shakespearean plays, where a simple phrase or gesture reveals a complex character's inner turmoil. This tactic allows the audience to infer and interpret the meaning behind the scene, making the experience more engaging and thought-provoking. We see this delicate dance between explicit meaning and subtle suggestion in many screenplays, plays, and novels. For example, in a classic romantic comedy, a character might exchange a flirtatious banter, only to later reveal through subtle expressions that they're actually interested in someone else. This juxtaposition of overt and covert communication creates a rich layering of meaning, making the character's intentions ambiguous and open to interpretation. In literature, authors often rely on this subtlety to hint at the character's underlying desires, fears, or motivations. Consider the inner monologue of a character, where their explicit thoughts are juxtaposed with their actions, which may not always align. For instance, in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, Nick Carraway's observations of Gatsby's behavior and thoughts suggest a deep-seated longing for Daisy, even if she's not explicitly stated. By withholding clear statements and relying on suggestions and implications, the author creates a sense of intimacy with the reader, inviting them to piece together the mystery behind the characters' seemingly contradictory behavior. In short, the art of suggestion is a powerful tool in storytelling, allowing authors, filmmakers, and playwrights to convey complex emotions and motivations without resorting to overt statements. By exploiting the subtleties of human behavior, they create a rich, nuanced narrative that lingers in the audience's minds long after the final curtain falls.